Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a review of a delicious classical ballet from 1796 by Paul Wranitzky. This is a series, by the way. This is his Orchestral Works Volume 4 that's being pursued on Naxos with conductor Marek Štilec and the Czech Chamber Philharmonic Orchestra Pardubice. Yeah, something like that. The Czech Chamber Philharmonic Orchestra. Forget the Pardubice. Let's make our lives easy. Now, Wranitzky was a contemporary of Mozart and Haydn. I mean, really of Mozart. His years were almost Mozartian. They were 1756 to 1808. He was quite popular in his day. And this is actually quite interesting. This is a 66-minute, full-length ballet pantomime called Das Waldmädchen. The forest maiden, or wood maiden, or maiden of the woods, or whatever. There is the scenario, the original scenario is lost, but there was a later performance to a slightly revised scenario, so we kind of know what's happening, not that we care. The music is quite charming. There is an extreme dearth of dance music from this period. Ballet was enormously popular in the classical period, but Beethoven and Mozart and Haydn, they wrote no full-length big ballets. They wrote dance music, and they wrote some short ballet inserts for various things, as we know. Mozart wrote a whole ballet for Idomeneo. Insert, but there were big, long ballet things too, hours long. Perhaps the best known, frankly, is Gluck's Don Juan, which is about 20-25 minutes long. And the larger works have basically disappeared. Nobody is very much interested in hearing them, to the extent that the music has even survived. And one of the issues is that we don't really know what the actual scenarios were for many of these pieces. So they continue to be rarities. So to have a whole hour-plus long ballet from 1796, from that high classical period, is really quite something. And Wranitzky was a very talented composer, a very good composer. And we know who some of the characters are, which is rather interesting. There's a princess. Oh, she's called something like, Febreze, or no, that's stuff you put on your smelly couch to get rid of the pet odors. Her name is, wait a minute, I do have it here. Oh, there we go, Floresky. Well, he's a prince, and there's Floreska, the consort, and there's a character here named Petrushka. He's a Cossack. And actually, he does quite a bit in here. This whole ballet supposedly has an Eastern European flavor, which is, you'd have to sort of take on faith. But there is one number that was apparently quite famous. It was called La Russe, the Russian. There's like a little sweetlet here of interesting things. There's a Cossack thing, and there's a grotesque, which are like, grotesque characters, commedia dell'arte things, and La Russe, then there's a polonaise, and there's solo vulcani and a polonoise, not to be confused with a polonaise. There's the polonaise and the polonoise. Now, these are all called polonoises, but it's a polonaise. And then a mazur, or a mazurka. So there's characterful nationalistic stuff here. And I want to play for you La Russe, which is the piece that really kind of got everyone going. It's sort of like it's described in the booklet as a sort of proto-Kamarinskaya, if you know the piece by Glinka. And in some ways, it sort of is. You get that sense of it. Anyway, I want you to hear, it's quite remarkable, actually. An interesting piece, interesting scoring, and as you'll hear, some very interesting phrase lengths and rhythms and things that really make it rather exotic, and it sounds rather trippy to actually have to dance. You could have some problems because it's not your normal 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 kind of piece. You know what I mean? So here is La Russe by Paul Wranitzky with the Czech Chamber Orchestra Pardubice, conducted by Marek Štilec. That's about 2.5 minutes long. Now, yes, there's a lot of internal repetition. I'm sure you got that, because once you learn how to do this tricky kind of offbeat dance, you're going to want to keep doing it. You're not going to want to stop. But it's a charming little piece, and it really does have a certain exoticism to it. I mean, okay, it's not the Nutcracker. We know it's not the Nutcracker, but it does foretell some of the large-scale romantic ballets, which came much, much later in the 19th century. And I found this to be a wonderful little curiosity. If you are into music of the classical period, you might very well consider this. It's Naxos. It's not too pricey. The performance is very, very good. As you could hear, it's rhythmic and vivacious. And there's also on this a little Pastorale and Allemande composed for the Empress Maria Theresa. And it's who liked Wranitzky very much. She was one of his patrons, and it's a lovely, charming little piece. I mean, this is nice music. It's just nice music. You can put it on and relax and read and knit and crochet and, do your stretches or your yoga, whatever you want. I mean, it works really well for that. And then every so often, there's like a wonderful little character thing that will make you sit up and go, oh, isn't that interesting? So yeah, give Wranitzky a shot. And if you like it, there are 3 previous volumes in this series, which are equally good and with some equally fine music. Definitely a discovery. So keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.